everything being tried by fire, and every man's work would be revealed. And that was to be down here in this age. And so we've seen Ephesians 1 and 10. We showed how it was a fulfillment in this age. And I'm going to show you a little bit today about how William Branham, a prophetic message, moved us into the Aquarian Age, well ahead of the message. And there's three things that need to come into the Aquarian Age to put it in full effect, and that is the message to the age, and the sun itself needs to move into Aquarius. And so you have the message, the sun, and the people need to move into Aquarius. Well, we had the message come at the opening of the seals, and it left everything behind and started a transition into Aquarius. We had the sun, which moved into Aquarius November 11th, 2011. The sun moved into Aquarius. The point position of the sun moving into the Aquarian house. And then so we had the message and the sun, and we're watching the people move into Aquarius now. And I believe that started around 2014, 15. It showed up in the heavens. When I say in the heavens, in the atmospheres, when people, scientists, astrologers, they begin to notice that a lot of frequencies and cosmic light and everything else had begun to blend together, and it was making the atmosphere, the frequencies and everything more unified and one, which is what the Aquarian Age is about. A unification. And I forgot to grab me some water. If you could just grab me one of them, that would be great. Thank you. And so, and there is coffee made there if anybody wants any.
Give me some water first.
So this Aquarian Age is we have the message, we have the sun, and we have the people all in the Aquarian Age now. So I'm going to read a couple of scriptures, and then we will begin to look at what I have this morning, discuss the Aquarian Age and how it is upon us. We are it. Matthew 24, Jesus is talking, I think it's 14 through 18. He says, "And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come." I know where everybody's mind goes. The world's going to blow up. When the gospel gets into the last nation, gets into the last group of people and goes all over the world, it's going to be the end. Nuclear wars and destruction of the earth, and we all fly up in the air, and you know the old story. But we know that the gospel of the kingdom was preached in all the world. We know that it went from Pentecost, and it went all the way around the world, traveling as it traveled from the east to the west, and the whole world got preached to, and even the last prophet to the church ages, the last prophet to the church ages, went around the world 7 times, preaching the gospel to the people. So the gospel was preached, and the witness went out unto all nations, and then shall the end come, or then there shall be a change. We know what the end is. It's a change. Verse 15, it says, "When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet," and you know who that is, the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet. A lot of people say, well, that's the temple, and it's when the temple of Omar was built and on the same Lot, where the temple was built, the Jewish temple, Solomon's temple, that's the abomination of desolation. That was a type of it. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But the abomination of desolation is the man of sin, iniquity. The man of sin. And when you see, therefore, the man of sin spoken by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, is that what's going on now? We were the man of sin. We were the one. And we caught the revelation of seeing him standing in the holy place. Every one of us had him in us. It's who we were by nature. And that man of sin, we caught him standing in the holy place. Whosoever readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of the house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. When you come to the housetop and you catch the housetop being the highest frequency, how many knows what the highest frequency in the world is? If you studied it all, the Aquarian Age, it's the upper level of air signs. There's Aquarian, Gemini, and then Libra. When you go into the housetop, when you go into the air and you reach the highest level, don't come back down for nothing. Don't come down here. Don't step in thinking you're going to set up church organizations and church rules and regulations and laws and enforcement, and don't think you're going to be doing all that, because there ain't no nature in the world going to accept that anymore. Don't come down from the housetop. Don't take anything out of the house. Don't go down there and start getting all into church age and saying, but we need this over here and we need that over here. Don't go down into the house and bring anything to the housetop. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. When you go out there to do your work, you go out there to do these things, don't think that you gotta carry all these things in your head. It's in you. It's what you are. So Jesus was talking about that time when the man of sin would be revealed. It would be opened up who we are. We would begin to dissolve our iniquities. We begin to go to the housetop. And when we got into the Aquarian Age on the housetop, don't come down for anything left in the house. Then he comes over in Luke 12, 1-7. And he says, in the meantime, when there were gathered together an innumerable multitude of people. When they were gathered together an innumerable multitude of people. Something like 7 billion and 500 million right now gathered together in this one little place called Earth. Insomuch that they trod upon one another. Yeah, if you think they're not, just get out. He began to say unto his disciples, first of all, beware of the doctrine of the Pharisees. So Jesus is warning them against doctrine. Doctrine is set up by the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. When someone sets up a doctrine, they have already decided in their mind that they have what is it, nobody else has it, and this needs to be a rule, a doctrine. It needs to be an unbending way in the church, and this is evidence that you have the Lord for your day, the Spirit, the Holy Ghost, whatever you want to call it. This is evidence that you have it if you believe this doctrine. Jesus said, beware when the multitude is innumerable and they're trotting upon one another and everything's going on. Beware of the doctrine of the Pharisees. Beware of doctrine and things set up and rules and regulations, which is hypocrisy. They set them up and then they can't even live up to it themselves. Total hypocrisy. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. Therefore whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light. So the darkness and the light are going to be the same thing. And that which ye have spoken in the ear in closets shall be proclaimed upon the housetops. So the secret things that we always thought was only for you, the theophany to speak in your ear, in your little closet, it's going to be on the housetops. It's going to be a part of the age. The age is going to reveal everything. And I say unto you, my friends, be not afraid of them that kill the body, and after that have no more that they can do. But I will forewarn you whom ye shall fear. Him which after he hath killed hath power to cast into hell. And I say unto you, fear him. And we see many people who have been cast into hell because they have fear of people. They have fear of rulers. They have fear of hierarchies. And what do? They succumb and surrender to their doctrines, to their lies, to their rules and regulations, and they are cast into hell. Are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 farthings, and not one of them is forgotten before God? But even the very hairs of your head are all numbered. Fear not, therefore, ye are of more value than any sparrows. It's an age that they're propagating fear. I said it last Friday. It's a rulership. It's a domination. The wealthy, and I'm talking about the extreme wealthy, not very many families, but the extreme wealthy, they own all the media. They own it all. And they are casting fear as much as they can upon the people, and they are using the desperate, those that don't have the wealth, those that don't have much in life. They're using the desperate. They're using the internet. They're using all of the social media. They're using all these newscasts and they're using everything to throw fear upon you. And using the desperate, they're taking, and I said it Friday night, and I'm not afraid to say it sitting here this morning. When I said the DNC, someone asked, said, are you talking about the Democrats? I'm talking about any spirit that tries to do that to you. There are all kinds of people who are trying to do this, organizations. And what happened back in the 1910s and 20s? The Democratic Party needed a strong arm to bring them in and put them in power. And the strong arm that they used was what? The KKK, the Ku Klux Klan. Wealthy whites bringing on rule and domination upon the rest of the world. And when the KKK doesn't work anymore, what do you think they're going to do? They're not going to change. They're just going to change their garments. And they change their garments, the Democratic Party, and all those who are agreeable with that type of spirit, they change their garment from KKK to Antifa. And now they call it anti-fascism. That's where the word Antifa comes from. And now they've come right back around and they're using Antifa as a strong arm upon the world to control and dominate it. Taliban, ISIS. You could just keep naming them. Who you think's funding all that? Very strong, wealthy people that need a strong arm to keep things stirred up across the world. In the middle of all that, the Aquarian Age is coming in. So we see all of this happening all around us. The older order, Pisces, is collapsing or decaying, and in its place, when you form a vacuum, something fills that. The world doesn't keep a vacuum. When you form a vacuum, it immediately fills with something. If you don't believe that, if you think it's not the law of nature, fill you up a bucket of water and just take your hand and put it in it and pull your hand out and see if the water stays where it's at. It immediately fills up the hole where your hand was at. It fills the vacuum up just like that.
Yep.
The vacuum has been filled with turmoil and disarray. And in 2020, the dangerous and demanding world environment is defined by energy events in the Aquarian Age. It is Christ doing it all. Don't be afraid. I read it to you. Don't be afraid. This is Christ doing it all. Now, what we need to do is focus ourselves into the spirit that is moving us to the better humanity, and focus in that and stay in that and continue on. For the next 2150 years, we will be in the Aquarian Age. It's 2020 right now. That says that until 4170, it seems a long way off, doesn't
That's
it?
a long way off.
Until about 4170, we will be in the Aquarian Age. We will be going through these things. Now, the Aquarian Age up front is full of chaos because it's such a drastic change from the Piscean Age. We'll talk about that. But we'll be here for about 2150 years. We have been in the transition from the Piscean Age to the Aquarian Age for the last 50 years. Moving out of Pisces, it was finishing up, and moving over into a transition age, and then on into completely Aquarius with all the Piscean Age gone. The official beginning of the Aquarian Age, according to astrologers watching everything, watching the sun tipping into Aquarius, watching all the things that are happening, watching the earth, watching the climates and everything, the original official beginning of the Aquarian Age, they've designated it as November the 11th, 2011, which is 11/11/11. Strange that it was the 11th house, Aquarius is the 11th house in the zodiac that we move into. It's and we moved into it November 11, 2011, but we've seen a transition happening long before that. Ray Leffingwell wrote, and he said, a new world is being formed today through the consciousness of humanity. I agree with that. Moving into the housetop, moving into the highest level of Aquarius. I'm not talking about Aquarius because it's me. I'm telling you this is the age we're in. Moving into the smartest age of all ages. Moving into the intelligence of all ages. We're moving into a time where that we are forming a brand new world through our consciousness, through our intelligence, through entering into the universal Aquarian Age. It is the catapult, it is the engine, it is all those things you want to call it that is bringing us into it rapidly. No man is an island unto himself. The collective consciousness, the mind of Christ, is our only way. And it's true. Now, the mind of Christ holds many things in it. But it is the only way. The mind of Christ has taken over according to Revelations 11 and 15. The kingdoms of this world have become the kingdoms of our Lord. The kingdoms of Christ. So we're looking at this morning. The Aquarian Age is upon us. Astrological ages are time periods that relate to evolution and development of society as a whole. Think about that. These astrological changes, these orbital changes, it brings in portals for all the spirits of the age come in, all the theophanies that move into manifestation in the earth, because they're coming into the earth under the Aquarian Age now, it puts an influence of Aquarian on every single person. Now, it doesn't mean that's your birth sign. Your birth sign shows up in each month, all the different ones, you know what they are, Aquarius and Sagittarius and right on around the zodiac, but all things take on an Aquarian influence, because that's the portal that's open to come into the earth. Astrological ages. Astrologists around the world seem to agree that humankind has been through 6 different major phases that correspond to the 12 zodiac signs. I think we've been through more than 6, but that's what they're saying. Each lasts about 2,150 years, which puts you at a complete cycle at about 25,000 years. And when each of these time frames begin or end isn't totally cut out. You can't look and say this one started here and this one started here. What they're going by is how the sun touches the house. The first part of the sun touches the house, or the veneral effect, I think they call it. But anyway, when it begins to enter a house, then they say that age is transitioning in, and normally within 50 years it comes in. And so all of the astronomers, all of the astrologers, all of the philosophers, all of the scientists are now saying that we have entered into that age, that the sun, the influence of Aquarius, everything has come upon us, and they say we've been there since 11/11/11. We are in an Aquarian world, an Aquarian age, and it become an age of online. In 50 years from the time around 1961, 62, and 63, when a prophet, and I'll talk about it, carried us into the Aquarian Age long before the rest of the world. We got the message first, and then the sun moves into it, and then the people move into it. We got the message at the opening of the seals, and the transition began to carry us into the Aquarian Age and leave the house and go to the housetop. What did the prophet say? The next age is the age of the mind, the intelligence. He moved us into Aquarius. That's what Aquarius is, the mind, the intelligence. And so the prophet moved us in there, and then the sun moved in, tipped itself and moved in around 11/11/11. And then what happened? The people moved in around 2014-15. We moved into the understanding of love divine. And what do you have? The message, the sun, and the people all in Aquarius. It's happening full blown now. We are in Aquarius. You notice how we identified mass movement through the portal, dropping into the earth, through Aquarius, through all these things, and how the mass movement brings on all these protests and things. And as soon as we identified that, within just a few days, these protests, there was a killing in Minnesota. Love bless those angels. And as soon as that happened, away it went, all across the nation and all across the world. Protests, violence, disarray, turmoil, as the mass movement began. So we're there. We move to an online. Like I said on Friday night, if what happened in Minnesota, Minneapolis, would have happened 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 99% of the world would have never knew it. But we've moved to an online world. Mm-hmm. to cameras, to cell phones, to smartphones, to satellites, and it's all over the world, and everything is revealed. We've moved to the housetop. That which is in secret will now be revealed. Racism, all these things. It's all being revealed to us now on the level that it is. And what it is protest against the Piscean age of rule and hierarchy, vertical development, pyramid, where one is at the top and everybody else is below, inferior. So that's what's happening. We're tearing down the Piscean structure. The Aquarian Age now is so different from the past. The Aquarian Age knowledge is deleting beliefs. I mean, beliefs, what people used to believe is falling apart so fast it's just like hitting the delete button. The belief we had here is gone. The belief we had there is gone. This belief is no good anymore. This one is only going to stir up trouble and cause messes. We're removing our beliefs almost as fast as being online, just hitting the delete button. Removing all these belief systems. Everything. The Aquarian is a digitalized online, and we are removing the belief systems. We're deleting our belief systems. And it has become a polarized, divided, and structured society. So what we do is we delete all of our belief systems, and then what happens is you got about half of the world that wants to stay in the old, and the other half that wants to move to the new, and you got a polarized community, you got a polarized nation, you got a polarized world. Just look at it. If polarization isn't taking place, you tell me what is taking place. It's polarized. It's so different. Aquarian Age knowledge is deleting all beliefs. It's doing away with suppositions. It's rattling and shaking up and doing away with all the myths. The myth of flying away. The myth of glorification. The myth of resurrection out of graves. The myth of all these myths that are being done away inside the spirituality process of Aquarius. Now look at all the myths that are being done away with in the political world and in the religious world out here. All of it is crumbling. We are, because of the help of the Aquarian Age, we are tearing down all the walls and all the things that the Piscean Age built up that's causing us our inferior, our superior feelings. We are breaking everything down to a horizontal playing field, not a vertical playing field. Now, doing away with misunderstandings. I forget who it was. I think it was Bruce Lipton. One of them, anyway, made a statement. They said that if you think that your God is when you leave the known to the unknown, the only way the unknown can be explained is by saying, "Oh, that's God. That's God." Well, let me explain to you that when you leave the unknown or the known into the known into the unknown is being explained and brought into revelation so fast that all the unknown is just, it's breaking down. If your God has anything to do with the unknown, you're not going to have God much longer because we just keep breaking down these things. Now, just for a few minutes, I want to talk to you about the dark side of Aquarius, the side that we're watching some of it today. Doesn't make it any less Aquarius, and it doesn't mean it's not Christ. All of it is Christ bringing forth what he wants to bring forth. Just for a few minutes, I want to talk to you about the dark side, the still unknown side, the instability of the Aquarian Age. This will continue to progress into a stable, established humanity, but not without trial and error, and even some uncomfortable upheavals at times. That's what we're watching now. So, what brings on the dark side of Aquarius? What is happening? The sun is in a square, if you want to call it that, to Libra. And Libra is an air sign. So Libra is trying to push structure. Libra is trying to push government. Libra is trying to bring stability into the Aquarian Age. That's what Libra is in the air signs. So in the sun section of Aquarian domination, there's national supremacy. There's Black Lives Matter. There is white supremacy. There is Antifa. There is KKK. There is capitalism. There is communism. There is fascism. There is Nazism. All these things. People trying to bring structure and government, but it's a large trial and error situation. Mm-hmm. This is the Libra part. The Levites were trying to keep a spiritual structure in Israel during the old days, and here we have Libra, the Levite, the people. It's people that are trying to do it, pass laws, pass rules, pass regulations, set down enforcement, set up governments, set up a United Nations, set up a NATO, set up, and just on and on and on, trying to bring governments in line to the Aquarian Age. It's a domination. National supremacy, big power politics, nationalism, populism, racial superiority, imperialism. All these things are taking front seat right now. Mm-hmm. You know why? Because Libra doesn't want to lose its structure. Mm-hmm. Libra wants to hang into the Piscean Age. Libra wants to stay there. Libra wants to be able to say, we've got it. It's in control. We got this thing. It's out of control. And Libra needs to step back and start focusing on a new world. Not what we need out of an old world, but focus on a new world and what needs to happen to bring this world to unity. I'm calling for Libra right now. Give us some help here. Look at what's going on. Stop trying to push your rules and regulations on people and push compassion and empathy and love, mm-hmm. and push these things on the people and put it out there so that we can unite together. Mm-hmm. So here we are. The immediate future belongs to the nationalists, the patriots. It's happening all around us as Libra struggles in the first part of the Aquarian Age to establish atmospheric government. And because she's trying to pull all the old things out of the house and bring it to the housetop, it's not going to work. Mm-hmm. Libra has to set her mind somewhere else. Libra has to pull in and set up a new government, a new system, a one world system full of compassion, humanitarianism, empathy, all of these things. In 2020, there's a race for military dominance. Look at it. China's on it. Russia's on it. Israel's on it. United States is on it. Rome has the finances for it. I mean, it is happening all around us, this military dominance. While the vertical hierarchy, the Piscean Age that set up this hierarchy, and the pyramid-style domination, they're trying to get into that, bring military structure and dominance, and it's going amok. The Twin Towers have fallen. The Piscean Age is over, and that whole system of hierarchy is going amok. And for 40 years, remember, the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the priests tried to do that. Titus come in, slaughtered Jerusalem, tore down everything. 40 years after Jesus come in and tried to change it spiritually and brought forth a new system, they went 40 more years under the old system, put that veil back up, went out and claimed to the people the pillar of fire is behind it. Every year they done their sacrifices, done everything. And from 33 AD to 70 AD, 40 years, they stayed right there until in came the chaos, the disarray, the turmoil, and destroyed the temple, destroyed Jerusalem, destroyed everything. And here we are. William Branham, the Christ, came on the scene, brought a message for a new structure, a new system, a new way. And the man-child that got ate by the dragon, and the dragon went home, and for 40 years, he has tried to preach the old system, bring the old ways, set up rules and regulations, set up laws and enforcement and all kinds of things. And Libra is in a terrible struggle in the Aquarian Age because all of its old ways have been torn down. So the Aquarian Age is the one doing all this. And we go 40 years and we entered into 2002. Here come the visitation. In 2002, we went into the second ride. And by 2014, that was over with. The sun had moved into Aquarius. The message had moved into Aquarius. And the people moved into Aquarius. And the whole age is setting up a new system. It's a brand new world. It's happening all around us. The immediate future, Libra struggles in the first part of Aquarius to establish stable atmosphere and government. And let me tell you, if you're going to go out there and start digging things up to see how much of this you think is right or how much you can prove wrong, most of this is me. Most of this is my view and my eye. And in studying all of it for years and years and years, I have pulled together the wholeness of what's going on. The big powers are moving fast to win the new space race. To be the dominant one in the air. To be the Libra, who has all the satellites, who has men working on the moon and going to Mars. And we're able to shut off all the power in the earth by satellites. We're able to move weather systems and destroy nations by the weather. They're wanting all this. This is Libra. But what she don't know is she's in an Aquarian Age. An Aquarian Age is going to move us into humanitarian, empathetic, compassionate, loving things, and it's going to take all those other things, and if it has to destroy them, it will. It's happening all around us. They're making a big move to be the new space race. They're racing for quantum superiority in space. In the Libra struggle, the Aquarian feelings in a structured atmosphere relates to persecution and depression. We used to say in the Piscean atmosphere, oh, we've got this book of rules. Let's go by it. Hallelujah. Let's all dance together. Let's all sing together. Let's set up the fivefold ministry. Let's put it up here together. Let's make USA number 1. Let's make Russia number 2. Let's make China number 3. And we got all of these rules and regulations going on and all these belief systems and everything else. And we used to say, yes, it's a good thing. The world's structured. It's set up with all of its rules, hierarchies. Got all this going on. The world's coming to a brand new day. Look at this. Yeah, a brand new day, all right. It's tearing it down, tearing it to pieces. And what used to feel good under the Aquarian Age, that structured atmosphere relates to persecution and depression and repression and rulerships and dictatorships and everything else out into the earth. And the people, listen, have moved into the Aquarian Age. Libra, You need to get your boots on, pull them up, tie them up, and get into the Aquarian Age. I'm not talking to Libra people. I'm talking to a Libra ministry, a Libra spirit that is coming forth from the sun into the Aquarian Age. You feel it. And when you feel it dragging you into that oppressive, depressive rule and regulation and condemnation, and don't go there. Don't let it pull you there. There is a higher frequency. Go all the way to the housetop. There's a higher frequency that you can go to, and it'll take you into understanding, enlightenment, love, compassion, empathy, all of these things. So the Aquarian, inside it, all this structure we had, is persecution and repression. Therefore, the protests and the world collapse. The fake news, the extreme wealthy they've bought up all the news. The extreme wealthy own all the media, all of it. That's why I told you Friday night, if you're getting fear upon you, if you're getting depressed, if you're starting to believe their lie and all the slants they throw out there, all they're doing that for is to try to bring your mind into their cage of control and hold you right there and put a mask over your face so you can't talk. Everywhere I go, whenever I go to a doctor, I go here, I go there, and I finally tell them, I can't understand you. Could you pull that mask down? And they'll pull it down, and then I can understand them. All that's about is muffling what you got to say. A show of power. But don't get me wrong. If your nation has a law that says you have to wear them, I'm not telling you to take them off or anything else. Our nation doesn't have that law. And if you think, I'm going to say one more thing, if you think that mask is protecting you or anybody else, you've really lost your mind. That is a bio virus built in a lab. And there's no cloth or nylon mask in the world that's going to protect you or anyone else from that. Unless you've got on a biochemical warfare mask issued to you by the military, it's going to go right on through. It ain't doing a thing for you.
It's true.
The big powers are moving fast. The world is collapsing. Fake news, getting everybody in uniform to move into their structured Aquarius. But it's not going to work. The extreme wealthy are using this uniting time to double down on their profits and on their domination. This is the downside of Aquarius. This is the dark side. And every one of those organizations, listen to me, it's Christ moving us into where we need to be. Now, we know that, so we don't go after any organization or any of those things that's going to stir up violence and trouble and all those things, but we know where it's coming from. And we are the center core, and we understand what's happening all around us with this message that we have, with this understanding, and we're not going to go there. We're going to continue to put out vibes of love, empathy, compassion, all these things, put out vibes so that the rest of the world, in all this chaos, depression, turmoil, and repression and persecution, can grab onto our vibes and come out of those things. In 2020, the destructive power of discord, and that's what the social media is, discord. The destructive power of discord is all too clearly evident. Economic stability is a need in the minds of Aquarius, while income inequality is at its highest levels. They want you to come to economic stability under their power of inequality when it comes to a level playing field. They want the higher position. They want the wealth. They want the money. They want the rule. They want all these things. And if you're willing to come to that under that Aquarian age, look at the income inequality that it causes. So you build classes of people, rich and poor, middle class. You build racism. You build different color creeds and doctrines and careers that only certain colors can get into, and other careers that other colors can, on and on and on. You build all that structural through all this inequality. This is the Aquarian age. Materialism, disinformation. Boy, it's going on. False religions, atheism. They keep the human mind in the dark. And materialistic science. Materialistic science tells lies continually. Looks for answers to difficult questions in the wrong places, moving you in that flow towards something else all the time. And then you have the sun moving through Libra square. Libra's throwing that influence into Aquarius. And then you have the Pluto period. I talked to you about that some on Friday night. The Pluto period of Aquarius. The world is divided. That's what Pluto is about. The world becomes a divided world. Look at it. I mean, the Pluto period of Aquarius, the dark side of Aquarius. Pluto is the furthest away from the sun. Pluto is the furthest away from the light. It's a dark world. A period of Aquarius, the world is divided. People are separated into opposing groups. Oh, that's Baptist. I'm a Methodist. That's Pentecost. I'm a Catholic. That's Third Testament. I'm a Love Divine. That's on and on and on. Divided spiritually and come right out into I'm anti-Trump. I'm anti-America. I'm anti-Russia. I hate Putin. I hope Benjamin Netanyahu gets assassinated. I wish Trump would go to his grave. Pluto, people. Pluto, with all of its darkness rolling through the earth right now. People are separated into opposing groups. That's Africa. They're black. Leave them alone. They'll destroy themselves. They started slavery. Let them end in slavery. They did this. They did that. On and on and on. You hear all of these things all the time. Pluto. Separating into groups. This is the early stages of the Aquarian shift, because the Aquarian age is about causes and movements. It's not about individuals. It's about causes and movements. Have you noticed just about nobody says a word about George Floyd anymore? Because it's not about an individual. There was a cause and a movement behind it, and away it went. And it proliferated itself and brought all of this violence and everything else because, very clearly, they had a cause. They had a movement. And it began to happen all around us. That is the Aquarian light. Now, the Aquarian age is about causes and movements, and bringing about mass movement in every realm, in every world. Mass movements going on. Thus, the instinct is to track you. Look at it out here. Let's see. How many times have they been to church? Do they really believe in what I'm saying? Who all's on the internet today? Some of you on there just listen to me so you can go out and preach against me. And you're looking at all the people on there so you can go tell everybody, so-and-so believes in this now, so-and-so believes in that. They're tracking you everywhere. They got satellites up there. They're tracking you through social security numbers. They're tracking you through phone numbers. They're tracking you through cell phones. They're tracking you through GPS. They're tracking you through everything. They're tracking you through cameras. I don't know if you know it or not, but almost on every corner is a camera anymore. Almost in every business is a camera. Almost in every factory are cameras left and right. You can't even go in a bathroom without being watched. All the time. Thus the instinct is to track you, to find out what kind of cause you're behind, to find out what kind of movement you're in. Are they into the militia? Are they into that Third Testament movement? Are they into love divine? Are they into Christianity? Are they Islam? Are they Muslims? Exactly what are they? Track. And the tracking and the groups are happening through social media. You're being tracked by cookies and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and your computers and the cameras on your computers. This is the age of Aquarius. Nothing is secret anymore. The instinct is to track. Smartphones surveilled by the government, and then misinformation by malicious fake news. Websites flows through the airwaves and frequencies of the internet. I was thinking just the other day, I go on Judicial Watch because so far this guy, him and Sarah Carter, have been really good at just saying news, just putting out the news. And they done a survey the other day. CNN's done a survey, MSNBC done a survey, Fox News done a survey. They all done a survey and said, let's see where we're at between Trump and Biden. Now listen, CNN had Biden up 15 points. MSNBC had Biden up 15 points. Fox News had Biden up 11 points. And Judicial Watch had Trump up by 15 points. Because they went out and talked to a fair group of people and talked to all kinds of people rather than going just into one party. And they found out they are just the opposite. All of this fake news, and I'm not for Trump in such a way that I'm trying to push everything, but I'm telling you that's fake news. Why would they come back and feed you this line? And every once in a while you find somebody that's actually altruism. They're telling the truth. It appears that it is a chaotic, dark, uncertain age because of its very vivid imagination. These are imaginations coming out at the early stages. We want a decrease in law enforcement. We want a decrease in government. We want a decrease in limitations and rules and we want all that. But listen to me. What you're watching is that group on one side who is feeling the influence of the Aquarian Age, and that group that's feeling the influence of Libra coming in, and they're haggling and they're hacking and they're fighting one another continually. And we need to come to a understanding and a compromise. It appears we're in a dark, uncertain age because of its very vivid imagination and its testing of every move that is made in the digital, national, and global world. It is the young baby's way of discovering itself. What I'm talking about is newborn, and we are newborn. And we're trying to discover ourselves and what is the best way to proceed forward and progress in this new world. That's what's going on. Now, there's two planetary influences. I talked about house influences. But in Aquarian, in the first, I think it's 400 or 500 years of Aquarius. Remember, it's 2,150 years long. In the first 400 or so years, there are two planets that are sending in vibrations and frequencies into the earth through the Aquarian portal, and that is Saturn and Uranus. Now, Uranus will take that over, and Saturn will back off after a few hundred years. But let me tell you what that does. You wanted to know the effects of the Aquarian Age. That's what I'm talking to you about. In the beginning of the Aquarian Age, the effects can be devastating to humanity. It looks like humanity is going backwards rapidly, like a snowball rolling into hell. That's what it looks like. And it's devastating to humanity. Its goals of a greater and more sensitive humanity just aren't in sight. There's so much violence going on. This is because we have two influences strong in the Aquarian beginning. The two influences of Aquarius, Saturn and Uranus, are separated. They have two different influential feelings that are coming into the earth. They're separated. This brings polarization, which is exactly what we're seeing. You can't get any government hardly to do anything because it can't do anything due to polarization. You can't seem to get people to move forward in progression because this group is against this group, is against this group, is against this group, is against this group. Polarization going on. That's what Saturn brings. And as those seeking security and safety and stabilization are succumbing to the Saturn influence, those that want this security and safety and stabilization and everything, and they're succumbing to that Saturn influence, that Libra house, while those seeking change are trying to level the playing field. We're trying to flatten the curve of Saturn and Libra and get us to a level playing field. Remove the pyramid. Remove the Pisces hierarchical relationships. Do away with the vertical hierarchy of Pisces and move more to a humanitarian, horizontal level type, empathy, loving, humanitarian governments. That's what Uranus is doing. Uranus is trying to move us to those things, while Saturn is trying to set up the rigidity and the hierarchy. Saturn has a worldview that is conservative. That's why I tell you, I'm not only conservative. I'm not only Republican. Everybody tries to make me out to be that, but in a lot of ways I am the opposite. Saturn has a worldview that is conservative, self-centered, and insensitive. Maybe my Taurus moon and my Cancer ascending helps me to have those feelings of sensitivity and not be so selfish. As the fear and selfishness stifles progress and exterminates the sense of altruism. It doesn't want the truth if the truth's going to hurt. No, we don't want the truth because it's devastating. It's going to hurt. It's going to do this and that. And then there's the altruist that says if the truth brings empathy and love and a leveling of the playing field, and that hurts some people for a while, then so be it. We need it. So we have that going on. As the flooding weather changes of Saturn bring havoc across the world. You say, Brother Parnell, are all these weather changes? What in the world's happening? Saturn is sending its atmospheric pressures into the Aquarian Age. And Saturn rules the weather patterns. Wormwood is Saturn. So the flooding that's going on across the world, the death toll goes up, rises due to Mother Nature, tragedies everywhere. And then all the patterns are changing in the air world as the jet streams are being influenced and changed due to a digital world. So Uranus is adding to the pattern changes, and Saturn is definitely bringing the weather pattern and the changes. And that's why you're seeing all of this. Everybody I talk to all across the world, the weather is so crazy now. Yes, it is. It's the Aquarian Age. It's the Aquarian influence. The effects of Aquarius are upon us. All the patterns, we are watching the misery and the despair escalate in people's minds as literally millions of species of plants and animals and everything we think, because of all the weather changes, are at risk and ready to go into extinction. Whatever is at risk may go away. But in order to bring a greater humanity and to bring a greater an acclimation into the earth of living under humanitarian style, if it causes some things to go away, then it's going to go away. And you need not fear about those things. There are species that are disappearing from the earth almost on a daily basis now. So we see all of that going on, and it is the Saturn, Uranus, and Aquarian effect. Those under the influence of Saturn are those trying to bring a stabilized Librian type government, security, safety, individual liberties into a world of the Aquarian Age, when Aquarian doesn't care about individual liberties that much. Aquarian and the Aquarian Age and the Aquarian spirit is to move the masses of people into a cause and into a movement that brings on a humanitarian age and love to all people and not just some individuals. Uranus has a worldview of progressive, rebellious, a higher consciousness for causes, collective thinking, group stabilization. In many ways, it brings less stability to the individual, less government, less macro authority, more micro. I can rule myself. I can handle myself. Leave me be. It brings that, seeking a destabilization of governmental unity when it comes to movements. Those influenced more by Uranus have an occult insight that has the ability, through intuition, to see the world's weaknesses and the body's needs, the earth's needs for survival. That's the Uranus feeling. Uranus influence seeks change. But it seeks change. It wants a peaceful earth. But it also wants rapid change. And therefore, you're looking at all the violence and all the uproar and all the upheaval and all the protests, because it ain't going fast enough for the Uranus people. So number one, you need to take a little relaxation pill. And just kind of quill out and say, wow, we have moved into Aquarius. Uranus is taking over. Saturn is going to back off. Libra is going to back off. And we're going to have a great humanitarian age here. Don't have so much fear. Don't have those things in you. So we see this change. It is the dominant planetary influence of the Aquarian Age. It will take over. When the change process is too slow, discontentment explodes into violent protest. I heard someone the other day, they said, and I agree, I hate what happened in Minnesota, but they said, change is not happening fast enough. This is the 8th one of these, and we're done. We're fed up to here. Well, let me tell you, I don't mean this in a mean way, but you're going to have a 9th, a 10th, 11th, and 12th, and a 13th, and a 15th, and a 20th. And you're going to have it on different colors and different races and different people and different governments, and you're going to watch governments topple. You're going to watch. You're going to see so much going on that if you're fed up to here with it, you're probably going to commit suicide time all that comes around.
It's true.
Unless you're willing to take some relaxation, get into the 7th seal. It is a relaxing seal. Why do you think the 7th seal came into this age? To relax you. So you're not out there throwing rocks and blowing up buildings, and you're not out there trying to set up tyrannical type governments either. But you are relaxed and you're saying, I'm going to bring all this together. I'm not going to be a tyrannist, and I'm not going to be a terrorist. I'm not going to do either one of those things. I have the 7th seal. I'm going to relax. I'm going to be what I am in the Aquarian Age, and I'm going to help other people's vibes come into mine. The change process, when it's too slow, some get violent. Millions of human souls are fighting to free themselves from the yoke of political and religious tyranny. You're watching it. By the billions, not just the millions,
Right.
by the billions, feeling what you feel, not understanding the chaos, looking around, many of them wanting to go into tyranny, set up wealth systems, and bring the people under rule, and many of them wanting to blow all that up, blow the buildings, burn the cities, throw the rocks, do whatever I got to do. All of that chaos, just get it in your head. 7th seal. I'm here in a rest. I'm in a bubble that's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger until this 7th seal takes over and all that unrest settles down. Millions of human souls. We see the mass movements taking place now. Understanding happening all around us is to bring us into spirituality and humanitarian government. That's what's happening. It don't look very spiritual at the moment. It don't look very humanitarian at the moment. When you're seeing somebody laying in the street bleeding, hitting the side of the head with a brick, when you're seeing people shot, when you're seeing people screaming and crying because their brother, their mother, their father just got killed because the cop left his knee on the man's neck too long and suffocated him, because just on and on and on. When you have those feelings, focus, people. You're the center point. You're not the pendulum swung way out to tyranny, and you're not the pendulum swung way out to protest. You are in focus. Think about who you are, put your vibrations out there, and draw the pendulum back to the center where you're at. And your life is enabled to the unveiling and the exposing. You see it all around you, of weak humanitarian governments by satellites orbiting, by planets, by weather structures, by everything. You're living in a digital world courtesy of Uranus, Saturn, and the Aquarian Age. It's happening all around you. Wake up, settle yourself into the 7th seal. There is nothing to fear, as these things are built into us and into the world of theophany. Did you hear William Branham say in his prayer, "Lord, take me out of here. I'm not built for what's coming"? That was his prayer. I'm not built for what's coming. I'm not built for what I'm seeing. We are built for it. It's within our attribute of theophany. It's within our human being. It was put in us. It was always in us from the theophany realm. And that's why we wanted to come here and be a part of this.
Yes.
It's built into us.
Yes.
Wake up. It's built into the theophany. Remember, the attribute of humanity and all of its intricacies, all of its iniquities, and everything that's laid out, it was in the theophany long before we opened this portal into the physical earth. And our part was the Aquarian Age. And it's been built into us, and we come through the Aquarian portal, and we took on the Aquarian Age, and we're resting under Uranus. This is why our message came 50 years ago instead of waiting till now. Because our message can settle us down when we watch all the chaos. We have a seventh seal, a message in us that's keeping us focused while the rest of the world is falling apart. As the sun moved into Aquarius and as the people moved into Aquarius by the billions across the earth, now Aquarius don't look so pretty. It don't look like a peaceful place. If we're built into it, don't you worry. Don't you fret. It is I. Be not afraid. It is Christ doing all of it. The Aquarian Age is about restructuring our perceptions and building a level playing field. During the Piscean Age, which is swiftly coming to an end, life was based on the pyramid. Every structure, from families to religions to governments and right on down the line, corporations and right on down, every structure had a single being, a CEO, a prophet, a whatever at the top. Had a single being, a person or a deity at the top, Christ, to whom all those below deferred to, obeyed to, revered, and surrendered ourselves in full to the Christ, to the prophet, to the pastor, to the government, to whatever. It was set up that way. But we're changing rapidly. We had ourselves surrendered to these things. Everyone knew their place. While this provided stability, its rigidity severely restricted individual freedom and atmospheric freedom. It restricted it completely. And it brought limited responsibility. This is God doing it. It ain't me. Oh, this is the devil. The devil done these things. It ain't me. Oh, the Holy Ghost in me did it. Now let me be so humble. I'm so pious. The Holy Ghost is doing all these sweet things. We wouldn't take responsibility for nothing. And this is an age where you're going to be responsible.
That's right.
You're moving into a different age altogether. And it's my spirit that is doing all these good things in me. And it's my spirit that sometimes gets angry and maybe passes out a little iniquity. And then I wish I hadn't done it and I may apologize. It's my spirit doing it all. It's my spirit that is the Holy Ghost. It's my spirit that is God. It's my spirit that is Satan. It's my spirit. And I am responsible for the things that I do. And the things that I believe. And the things that I walk through. I'm responsible for it. Every structure, every place had stability but no responsibility. And it restricted us. Aquarius is about flattening the pyramid and individuals assuming more power. Individuals assuming more revelation, more understanding, more authority. The age of Aquarius, then, is about acknowledging that the system is broken. Amen to that? Can we acknowledge that? The system is broken. And you know who broke it? Us. Our understanding is breaking down the Piscean system. It's broken, and the Aquarian Age, the influence says it's not only broken, but we're not going to pass it down to our children and our children's children and our children's children's children. We're not going to do it. We're not waiting for someone else to fix it. We're going to fix it. Mm-hmm. That's the Aquarian Age. We're fixing it. Sometimes you have to tear down what's on the foundation before you can build something new on it. Yep. Sometimes you have to blow up the foundation. You say, what kind of things are we looking at? Well, I've talked about our spiritual things that we have come into and have acknowledged they are broken. All of that church system, all that fivefold ministry system, all of the, just on and on and on. We've went through all that. I'm showing you the Aquarian effects across the world this morning. The system is broken and we're going to fix it. And we've felt that system breaking down this year in 2020. We've watched it left and right, breaking down everywhere. Think about it. Just in the last year or so, Brexit, exit. No longer is there a Great Britain that's ruling Scotland and Ireland. Brexit exited them from all of that. There's the Blacksit. You say, what is that, Brother Parnell? That's the black people that are waking up and getting off the democratic plantation. The slavery, and people like Candace Owens, and right on down the line, many great black people are raising up and saying we're done with it. It's not that they're all Republican, it's not that they're all conservative, but they are certainly realizing the Democratic Party has done nothing for them except stronghold them and leave them in a plantation style mentality. Mm-hmm. Work for me and get your check. Vote for me and get your check. I'll keep you and your children and your children's children getting that check and getting the food and getting all these things. Well, we're waking up. All of these things people are waking up to. The Brexit exit. American government. American government has been a corrupt situation, whether you know it or not. Yep. These last few years, it is amazingly corrupt. Since World War II, listen to me, William Branham came out and said Franklin D. Roosevelt is the first of many dictators. You say, oh no, Brother Parnell, we got to vote. You want to know what Mark Twain said about voting? He said if it had any importance at all, they wouldn't let you do it. I just about agree with him.
It's fairly accurate, yeah.
But dictators ruling the people, setting up systems to feed the people, to take care of them, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you make it into a governmental thing and you make it to where the people have it better by not working than working, you got a problem. Mm-hmm. You got a problem. We're executing a lot of those things. Governments of America, all of the FBI, the CIA, the National NCIS, you could just go on and on and on. We're pulling out from under all of that corruptive way, and it's causing huge chaos. They're burning Washington. Listen to me, I don't mean this in a mean way, but if you think George Floyd is the reason they're burning Washington, if you think George Floyd is the reason that every major city is burning and people being killed, if you really believe that, you are the most naive. I think one person said it right. You're a special kind of stupid. This is all of the major organizations, all of them. You just keep naming them off. They're all in this together, funding all of these things to burn down what's been 250 years of a great political organization, and now it's falling apart. And what we need to do is pray and know that USA is going to have a great influence. Mm-hmm. It's going to continue on. And right now is the time for us to send out our vibrations to have a more stable, but a more humanitarian, a more loving, a more empathetic, and a more altruism government that helps the people, not just the people of the U.S., but the people of the world.
Yes.
That's what we need. We've seen all these exits. I know it's getting late here. We've seen all these exits. Brexit, Blaxit, American government, Trump, anti-Trump, anti-Trump. You think that's not involved in everything that's going on? I'm not praising him. He ain't especially a good man when it comes to what we would term a Bible discussion of a good man, but he's a good businessman, and he's the one that the Spirit, that the Aquarian Age put in there to direct the U.S. through the Aquarian Age and through all this chaos. We put him in there. So now let's stand up and let's face it and let's believe that he is going to do the right things for the whole world. Terrorism. We're watching all these great changes. The breaking down of the old systems. The African continent. That whole continent's under turmoil. You think the United States is under turmoil with the warlords and the dictatorships and the failures of the governments and everything else across Africa? It's amazing. And what we're doing in all of our changes is trying to set up something stable enough to handle all these things worldwide. Uranus knows what it needs to do, but some people get too impatient. The first 400 or 500 years, there's a whole lot of breaking down. Terrorism. You look at nations. Look at how swiftly nations are changing. Venezuela, Cuba, China, Philippines, Russia, European nations. Just look at all of them, how swiftly it's all changing. COVID-19, racism, all of it. What's happening? When you go into the housetop, do not go back down into the house and bring anything out.
Right.
And Libra's trying to bring some things over. They're trying to establish government. And Saturn's trying to bring the security and the structure and the safety over here. And Uranus is saying, no, 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 no. We don't want any of that. We want a better government. We want a more humane people. We want things that are going to acclimate the world and us be able to live here in peace and not have so many lines and rules and regulations. And the two, one is too impatient and the other is too stubborn to move. And it's polarized the world for a little while. It is Christ doing it all. Law enforcement, African continent, the list goes on. Church, hierarchy, fivefold ministry, the book conquerors. You say, what do you mean by the book conquerors, Brother Parna? All those men that conquered the world by the Bible. That's what they did.
That's what they did.
There was one Indian, I forget his name now, I wish I knew it, but he said that they came over here to America, and he said they had a Bible in their hands, and we had all the land. And he said they taught us how to close our eyes and pray, and he said we closed our eyes and prayed, and when we opened our eyes, we had the Bible, and they had all the land.
Pretty accurate.
Pretty accurate.
Accurate.
Bible conquerors, book conquerors are over.
Yep.
It's done. And we're breaking down all those systems. Let's look at the transition into this age. 100 years of war. The whole 1900s. The 20th century was 100 years of war. World wars, 2 of them. And then just a constant war and battles after that. The change in music. I heard Ted Nugent make a statement. He said, I was in the middle of the rock age. He said, I was one of them out there, Ted Nugent. And he said, when the music began to change in the 40s and the 50s after World War II, he said, the Beatles didn't bring nothing to the United States. He said, all of these different ones that come to get into this, come here to the United States, they come here to get into our music. They seen the Chubby Checkers. They seen the great musicians. They seen the Buddy Hollies. They seen the Elvis Presleys. They seen all of this going on. And he said they seen so many of us and so many of the blacks. I don't know whether you know it or not, but the blacks were the most influential in changing the music into the style musics that we have. All the way through, Ted Nugent said they were coming from all the nations over there to get into what was going on in the United States. He said they didn't bring nothing to us from Britain. They didn't bring nothing to us from Europe. They took back what we had. And I thought, that's so true. All of these things that we watch, and music changed so much in that transition into the Aquarian Age, the hippie movement. And right during the time of the hippie movement, when it was at its core, when it was going like mad, here comes a little prophet in the spiritual realm and opens up the 7 seals. And when he opened up the 7th seal, he said in the 7th seal, he said, this is not for you. Just go on and live your Christian lives and do the best you can do. This has a different frequency, and this is for people that are coming. And when they get here, they'll understand these things. That's what he said. So the prophet stood there in Jeffersonville, Indiana, in 1962, in the stature of a perfect man. He said, who do we see coming into the earth? Leo the lion. And what is he doing here? He is ripping off the seals. He's exposing everything. So the prophet, who was an Aries, standing in the church, this is what he said in 1962, stature of a perfect man. He said that Leo the lion was ripping open the seals. He said that the church is in the Cancer Age. Yeah, and everybody said, no, he's wrong. He's wrong. It's not the Cancer Age, it was Pisces. Because Brother Branham said the church is in the Cancer Age with the cross fishes of the zodiac. Well, what's he saying? The prophet is standing here in Leo. The world is in the Pisces age. And the church is in the Cancerian age, which Cancer was the 7 sisters, the Big Dipper. The 7 sisters was getting ready to be raptured and to be put into the great ship of Zion and move over into the Aquarian Age. And the prophet was standing in Leo, and he was ripping open the seals while the whole world was coming out of the cross fishes of the zodiac into the Aquarian Age, into the Aquaman, pouring the waters into the earth and making it a great place to live. And here stands the prophet in Leo. Here stands the church in Cancer. Here is the world in the Piscean Age. And Leo brought his message and transferred us or raptured us or transformed us from the Piscean Age, from the Cancer rapturing age, over into the Aquarian Age. He brought us over here where the man with the pitcher is standing here, and he already has a room prepared for you. And Jesus said, follow that man with the pitcher. You know who that man is? The Aquarian Age. Follow Aquaman into the little room, and there you will find everything you need for the preparation of all of this chaos that's about to break off. All of this chaos of crucifixion back then, and now here we are, the chaos of the Aquarian Age. It's happening. So the prophet opened up the seals in Leo. The church was standing in Cancer, being raptured, and the age was Piscean. He said it perfectly right. He knew what he was talking about. The prophet opened those seals, moved us into Aquarius. And what happened? Andromeda, which was in the Piscean age, she was all chained up. And you know what happened? Those 7 sisters got unchained. Andromeda of Pisces is unchained. You know how she's unchained? You know how she gets rid of all of her chain? The Aquaman standing there with a pitcher, there is a horse in Aquarius called Pegasus, and Pegasus tips the pitcher, drops it into the Piscean Aquarian transition, and frees Andromeda by the washing of the water of the word, and her chains are gone, and she steps out, the wife steps out of Piscean into Aquarius and becomes the male-female attributes, not a wife now, but the Christ himself, male and female. Mm-hmm. She becomes all those chained, unchained by Pegasus, tipping the Aquarian pitcher into the hands of the Aquarian Age. And what happens? A great swan comes flying into the scene. You know what a swan is? The largest bird in the world that can move into the sky, live in the earth, live in the water, and live in the air. The largest bird. It can walk around and live in the earth if it wants to. It can go into the water and live there if it wants to, and it can go into the air and live there if it wants to. The great swan, the Aquarian Age, is bringing everything together. That's what's in Aquarius. That's the effect that's happening now. February 14, 2018, what happened? All these cosmic frequencies and everything else begin to blend together. It's becoming one. The great swan is living water, air, and earth. We are moving through the elements now. 40 years transition. 2002 opens another portal on April the 11th. 2002, the same astronomical configuration appears as the one that appeared in 1962 when William Branham preached on communion, and he said it is the issue of God coming into the earth. 1962. May. The issue of God coming into the earth, he said. What is an issue? It's a man's seed. Mm-hmm. Issue is seed. The seed of God is getting ready to pour into the earth. Exactly what I've been telling you about mass movement. And 40 years transition brings us to 2002, and the exact same configuration shows up in the earth at the exact same time that William Branham does a visitation and tells me how to move out of all these Piscean structures and get over into the Aquarian Age. I didn't know what was going on then, but I sure do now. Mm-hmm. The Theophany world began a mass movement in 1962, and our commission came in 2002 to take the masses into Aquarius. 11/11/11, the sun moved into Aquarius, where we moved into Aquarius 50 years before. We're already into our message. We're in the 7th seal. We should be very settled. This should not be making us afraid.
That's right.
We shouldn't be afraid of these things. The sun's already in Aquarius. We already have the message. And in 2014, we moved the people into Aquarius. Now nothing's left in the Piscean Age. We're in the housetop. Stop going back there and bringing that junk over here. And wake up to a brand new world, a brand new day. You're going to do it, or you're just going to pass to the other side because you're not useful here. When you're not useful, you get moved on.
You get moved on, that's true.
The Theophany world began a mass movement in 1962, and the commission came to us in 2002. And in In 2011, 11, the sun moved into Aquarius. And all three of us now, the people, us, and the message and the sun, we're all in it. It's full blown. By 2014, the message, the people, and the sun stepped into Aquarius, and its understanding and its influence is upon us. 2020, the year of perfect vision, caught the mass movement. The Aquarian Age. We caught it. We seen it. We talked about it before it all began to blow up and happen. We sat right here for 2 messages and talked about it. And I said there is a mass movement happening from theophany into the earth, and we are about to see it. And bang, it went everywhere. It went everywhere. 2020, the year of perfect vision. We're on the housetop. Don't come down. Don't go back down there. My God, don't do it. It's not worth it. It won't work here. You say, well, it's worked before. You know, I used to hear that in corporations all the time. They had these old systems set up and we weren't making any money. And I'd go in and I would set up a new system in the corporation, in the factory. And everybody'd say, that ain't going to work. This is what'll work over here. That won't work. Well, I'm telling you, stop going over there. That's not working. We're not making money, and I'm going to have to shut the factory down. Get over here and do this. Well, the Spirit has shut the factory down. The Spirit has said, no more Pisces in Aquarius now. Perfect vision caught the mass movement, the Aquarian Age. The leveling of the playing field. You remember many messages we talked about that. We're leveling the playing field. We are moving rapidly forward in our vision, our understanding, and bringing in the Christ. Recognizing Christ, the all in all things. It's happening. And by us using our focus in the seventh seal, the core of the nucleus, the seventh seal, by us using the seventh seal and remaining in that throne room, that's what the seventh seal is, remaining in the throne room and us staying in here and looking around and saying, holy, 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 that's holy, that's holy. Everything's holy, everything's beautiful. Keep those vibes going. Keep it rolling out, and you'll watch the ripples as it moves across the earth, and the earth begins to settle down, and the earth begins, because you are the nucleus. And just like an explosion from a nuclear bomb, the waves just travel out, and it takes care of everything in its path. You are the nucleus. It's going on, the leveling of the playing field, and we are moving rapidly forward in our vision, our understanding, and we're seeing Christ completely taken over in every kingdom, in everything that's happening. We're bringing on a humanitarian age. We're bringing a humanitarian age into reality.
Yes.
Fear not, it is I. Man, it was a huge storm. Those disciples didn't know what to do. The boat was going down. The storms and the lightning and everything else. And here come Jesus walking on the water in, you know what water is? People. In the people. Jesus is in the people. Do not worry. He's in all of us. He's doing what he said he would do. It's the Spirit. It's the pillar of fire. He's here. He's moving. Look and you'll see him. Fear not. It is I. Be not afraid. The Aquarian Age is upon us. What an age. You know it. If you've listened to the last 5 or 6 messages and really took them to heart, the mass movement messages and these Aquarian messages, oh, we're right in the middle of it. We're right in the middle of it. It's the greatest age. It's the smartest age. It's the most intelligent age. It's the most cognitive age. But for the first 300 or 400 years, you young people, you ones that are just now being born into the Aquarian influence, when you get up old enough that maybe your mom or dad said there was a guy that was here. His name was Dom Parnell. He went by a Torre Allianza, and he said some great things. If you hear these things, it'll go on for a while. It'll go on for a few hundred years. But you're headed into the greatest, most magnificent time that the humanity and the earth has ever seen. What a great day we're in. We're in the chaos. Hold steady. You are the seventh seal. You are the relaxation. You're the one sending out good vibes. Don't be a tyrannist. Don't be a protester. Send out good vibes and bring the world to a greater humanitarian government.
Yep.
Anything?
Everybody likes it.
I love it. It means so much to me.
Yes.
I used to wonder why. As a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old boy, 11-year-old boy, I wanted to know everything I could about government, about zodiac, about all the influences, about philosophy, about history. I dug in. When they gave me a social studies book in the 4th grade, that was my Bible. Oh man, I was digging into everything. And then when I got up old enough, I started studying the whole Native American. I started doing all these things, and it was like, my word. And I kept pouring all that information into me, studying World War I, World War II, what took place, why were they so close together, what caused all these effects. And I studied those things for years. And then when I got up to college level and in the corporation, I had to have a degree. I have 3 now. But when I got up into that level, I wanted to understand the behavior of people. That's what I wanted. So I went into humanitarian, and I went into human resource degree. And I studied as much as I could on what's called abnormal behavior, because I just loved it. You know, I studied men like Charles Manson. I studied men like Jim Jones. I studied all these things. I studied how governments get set up, how these agencies get started. I studied all this, and I just kept taking in the information. And now that I'm in the Aquarian Age, not just an Aquarian person, but I have the influence of Uranus and the Aquarian Age on top of my Aquarian, I'm in the housetop. I'm looking around, and I see Christ everywhere. Holy, 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 holy. What a magnificent age. Wonderful angels coming from the theophany realms, bringing us a greater humanity. Be human. Be humanity. Be full of compassion. Be a humanitarian. Love your neighbor. Jesus was a humanitarian. As yourself. And if there be any other, love the Lord. Love that spirit within you. You know what he's saying when he said love the Lord? Love yourself. Love yourself. And if there be any other commandment, love your neighbor as yourself. That's pretty simple to me. Love yourself. Study yourself. Understand yourself. And then take a good look around you and love your neighbor as yourself. Humanitarian gospel. That's what that is. What a day. I love this. Don't worry. Don't worry about anything. Don't be full of fear. You are the 7th seal. And all is well. I sang that Friday. Alan didn't make it. I'll sing it again. All is well. All is well. We have heard our message, shalom, and all is well. There is a place of perfect rest behind this inner veil. So rest in life, rest, for all is well. All is well. All is well. You have heard the seventh seal, and all is well. There is a place of perfect rest behind your inner veil. So rest in life, rest, for all is well. Amen. So I'll stand here for just a moment. We are in a great, great, great time. All of the authority and all of our influence, all of our vibration, all of those things, let's let it be. Don't say to be or not to be. That's not it. It's to be. Let it be. Mm-hmm. Let your vibration go forward. Let everything go forward. Be the person you're supposed to be in this Aquarian age. Send out vibrations of love, empathy, compassion. All of these things that are going on around you will settle down, because your ripple is the nucleus core, and it will send out the waves to settle it all into a great humanitarian age. Mm-hmm. Love bless.
Live and let live.
Live,
my motto.
Let live. All is well.
And if all is hell, that's your fault. You can change it.